Professor Gyampo, thank you also for joining us. Now, see, we are heading to a point where, because of the Ghana card, we will not be saddled with the ritual, spending on voter registration processes. And this is a country where we have spent in excess of, 200 million sometimes just for these processes. And we are getting to a point where we will not need to do that any longer every 4 years. Take, for example, our SNIT system. And remember the bizarre story of the OBS matter that came up that is also in court. At various levels, everybody is doing their own cards and spending millions of dollars. If you speak to some of our donor people who have better insight, they will tell you that these are the avenues for corruption. So, if this is what we are getting to, what should be the difficulty in putting the money in making sure that this is done and dusted? Please unmute your mic.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you now.
Oh, am I on?
Yes, please.
Oh, what question did you ask? Sorry, I was distracted.
So my question is this. We all appear collectively, unanimously agree that the Ghana card is the way to go. That the Ghana card will give us, like Dr. Dominic Ayini's words, a clean society, which is exemplified now by what the recent matters that we are hearing, where one individual has many identities or double identities, multiple identities, but in the NIA system, you cannot have a double identity. You can always have one identity. We all envy, places like Britain, elsewhere, because this is how the system works. What is the difficulty in finding the money and giving this a priority if the only number left to be captured is 2.5 million?
Well, you see, if you're asking me what is the difficulty in finding the money, you should be asking the government of the day. I'm not a government. I'm not the fundraiser for the government. The idea of having a national identity card is laudable. I think it was introduced by J. Kufuor, and we've supported it since it was introduced. We tend to have too many identities, like you rightly mentioned. Yesterday, I wrote a piece, and I realized we have hospital identity cards, SNIT cards, staff ID cards, passport, voter ID cards, driver's license, national health insurance ID cards. These tend to create needless identity crisis for us. And so it was a good call, it was a good initiative when the idea came up that we should synchronize all our identities into one card called the Ghana card. It's a very good cause. And so I've argued that if truly we need to synchronize our identities into one card, then the Electoral Commission's decision to ensure that we use only the Ghana card as a source document for voter registration is also great, as it will facilitate the need for all of us to help in making the call for a synchronized identity a reality. But like you mentioned, we don't have money. We are a broke nation. The National Identification Authority tells us that it had been able to register or capture about 70 million Ghanaians. But out of these 70 million Ghanaians, you should know that it includes a site.
I hope we are not losing Professor Gyampo. So we are losing him briefly. Okay. Hello, Prof.
Yes, I am here.
Yeah. What do you say about realigning the EC's budget to financially empower the NIA to complete the Ghana card registration?
Hello.
Yes, Prof.
Yes. So something. Sorry. So
what do you say about realigning the EC's budget to financially empower the NIA to complete the Ghana card registration?
Well, the issue of funding to enable the NIA to continue to provide us with credible identification is not the only challenge that I see. You see, the point is this: using the national identification card, the Ghana card, as the only source document to allow people to register as voters is a serious decision that would hugely impact on the electoral fortunes of political parties. And such serious decisions must always be implemented with consensus. Let me tell you this. You remember, President J. Akufo introduced the ROPA, Representation of People's Amendment Law, in 2006. Now, I remember there were demonstrations, petitions, and boycotts, and so many things that were done to prevent that law from being passed. But because the president then...
Okay, unfortunate, Prof Gyampo's line is not as reliable. Is Prof's line stable now? Okay. Unfortunate there, but as we understand, Dr. Dominic Ayeni has said it is not the ideal that they are opposed to. It is the practical question of the non-coverage, as we speak, of 2.5 million, out of which you have potentially how many voters. That is where he has an issue. But we all agree that it is a good thing. As we understand, the Bank of Ghana and financial institutions, we are talking about 24 universal banks, 146 rural and community banks, 16 savings and loans companies, 16 fintechs, 5 finance houses, 3 microfinance institutions, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust. I'm talking about those who are merging with this system now, so that now you have one identifier. You don't have a situation where one person is able to hold 2 passports, 3 passports, and some of them you will find out the passport issuer does not even have them in their system. The Ghana Revenue Authority, National Health Insurance Authority, the Ghana Immigration Service, the telcos, Student Loan Trust, National Service Secretariat, Passport Office, the DVLA, and now the Electoral Commission. And as we understand, the 17 million voters on the EC's roll, you have over 10 million of that number having used their ID card, their Ghana card. The EC is seeking to clean the process. So you listen to them, and their hesitation in using any other means for now is to avoid diluting what they have managed to sanitize over a period. Prof Gyampo, if you are back, you can please continue your statement.
I was making the point that Dr. Afarijan was wise and cautious in building consensus among the key political actors on major decisions that could have plunged the country into chaos if they had not been handled well. In 2006, for instance, President Kufuor introduced the Representation of the People's Amendment Law. The bill was fought by civil society and many pro-democracy forces through demonstrations, petitions, etc. But the NPP majority passed the bill, and the president assented to its same day to become law. But Afarijan took a very patriotic stance that he was never going to implement the law so long as there remained the lack of consensus among the key political actors. His fear was that without consensus, the implementation of Rupal could lead to a serious political conflict. And so this is why the Rupal has since not been implemented in spite of Kufuor's signing of it into becoming a law with alacrity. And so I respectfully urge the Electoral Commission bosses to copy from best practices, as the Bible tells us in 3 John chapter 11, verse 8, chapter 11a. The point is this: there is a serious trust deficit among key political actors of the functioning and the role of both the NIA and the EC. And I am of the view that if this trust deficit is not worked at, if the Electoral Commission would want to just emphasize on its mandate without going the extra mile to win the rest of the political elites on board, then we are headed for serious confusion. We are headed for trouble. And so I think that as we speak now, if you speak to some of the political actors, they will tell you that it appears that the machines, the equipment used for voter to capture the details of Ghanaians who are registering for the Ghana cards are many and seem to be working effectively in areas regarded as the stronghold of the ruling party. And the machines are limited and malfunctioning in areas regarded as stronghold of the opposition. Now, whether it is true or it is not true, you have to meet the actors to give a certain assurance. You have to meet the actors to let them know that these may not be true. If they are true, what are some of the measures you are taking to address them? These have not been done. And so people are looking at the activities of the Electoral Commission with a lot of suspicion. As I speak to you now, if you do not want to be in the queue, go to the NIA office right now. You see, so many people have marched up there looking for cards. Now, if you do not want to be in the queue and you don't have the time, you have to pay 250 cities to be able to procure the card. So I went to procure cards for 2 of my own kids, and then I had to pay 500 cities to be able to get a card. And I'm wondering, if you have 3 kids or if you have 1 kid, how many Ghanaians are able to procure or marshal that resources in this period of economic crisis? How many Ghanaians will be able to have the resources to be able to go procure cards? If you don't take care, then what you are doing is that you are working to undermine the democratic principle of universal adult suffrage. If you don't have money, you cannot get a card.
All right.
If you don't get a card, you cannot register. If you don't register, you cannot vote. And then the Electoral Commission is saying...
But Prof, in the face of the facts, should you join those who are generalizing these matters the way they have been generalized? In the face of the bare facts, the sacred facts, that 17 million plus have been captured. It's almost 18 million now, I think. And
no, please do that.
And Prof, the outstanding, the outstanding in the population of 15 years and above left to be captured is 2.5 million. So the question now is how to progress to cover what is left. Should the CI proceed or be held in abeyance until the 2.5 have been captured?
It's not only about 2.5. The 17 million that you spoke about as being captured. It does not reflect the total number of voters who are supposed to be voting. Do the math well. You realize that the 17 million who have been captured, they include minors and they include also foreigners. You have to subtract the minors who cannot vote from it. You have to subtract the foreigners who cannot also vote from it. And then the NIA itself tells you that it has some 3.5 million Ghanaians who have been registered but whose cards have not been printed for them because there's no money to go print those cards for them. And so my point is, these are some of the teaching challenges. Apart from these teaching challenges, there are also serious trust deficits of the activities of the Electoral Commission by the main opposition party. And I'm saying that to the extent that this decision, this CI, will have a major impact on the electoral fortunes of political parties, you must not proceed without building consensus. That is what we know
Prof, according to the NIA's figures, I think you are working with some figures that need to be updated. According to the NIA's figures, as at last Sunday, people 18 years and above who have been captured are 16.9 million. 18 years and above. So the Electoral Commission says it has 17 million on its roll. And we know that from a long time now, the goal has been to remove the ghost names, the multiple people on the electoral register.
Yeah, so Samson, I get you very well, but the point is that the issues that I'm tabling now that you are seeking to controvert are the issues that are in the psyche of many people who are raising these as counter proposals, counter issues to what the Electoral Commission is saying. And the only way you can iron these issues out is to dialogue and to build consensus. And so, and to be able to also iron the trust deficit that is currently plaguing the activities of both the NIA and the Electoral Commission.
Okay.
And so let us not proceed without consensus. And I'm giving you an example that Afarijan took that decision of not implementing the RUPAL because he felt that without consensus, we are headed for implosion. And so let nobody doubt the independence of state institutions. Let the independence of state institutions
I acknowledge that point about Afarijan. But as you know, I am the lawyer who led Ghanaian diasporans to go to court and to seek a compelling order that the Electoral Commission should implement the ROPA. They have not been able to implement it up to now.
They are not the right person.
Since 2017, when that judgment was issued.
Yes.
In fact, they returned to court to beg for extra time. The court gave them extra time. They have still not been able to do it.
So, but I'm giving
from where I sit, it is a no-brainer. It's a simple issue. If Niger is even doing diaspora vote in Ghana, Ghana should. We call ourselves a pride nation. We should be able to do this better, particularly in a Ghana card regime. Professor Tefa, there are issues that are being raised that I think you should address them for us quickly.
Can I complete my point on that? You see, so something you are entitled to your views on, and you have the right to take the Electoral Commission on for non-implementation of that RUPA. But my point is that the reason why Afarijan decided to hold on to implementation had to do with the fact that he wanted some consensus.
The point I make to you is that there is even a court order that should have been pursued, but they have not done it. That is to show you that even after Afarijan, they are still doing consultation. So it's not only Afarijan who has been consulting. This Electoral Commission has said on this show that it needs both parties to agree to come together to be able to implement it. Let me go to Professor Tefa because of the questions, the issues that you raised, Professor Gyampo.